So I've been seeing this trend going around YouTube of YouTubers dishing out their dumbest purchases that they've made in their 20s, and I thought it was a really good idea. The only thing is, some of them I didn't feel were very realistic. Graham Stephan, I'm a huge fan. He spent $7,500 on landscape design.
But I wasted $7,500 on a really bad landscaper who did such a horrible job.
I'm like, how are you doing this in your 20s? And I really love Shelby and Monica Church, huge fans of their channels and just the way that they design videos. And they spent $10,000 in interior design.
I think we paid her like $10,000 total.
I'm like, I don't think I had $10,000 to begin with in my 20s. So I'm giving you my top 6 dumbest purchases that were very realistic that happened in my 20s. First, I also want to mention that in my 20s, I was pretty much living in Kansas 3/4 of that decade. I was in Kansas and I was making less than $45,000 a year during that time. In fact, I think in all of my 20s, I was making less than 50 grand in all of my 20s. So I wasn't making a lot of money and I was in debt until I was 26. And then I paid off my debt. Okay, the first dumbest purchase that I've made when I was 21 years old, my senior year of college, I took out an extra $1,500 from my university's foundation as a student loan. Now, I didn't really need this extra $1,500, but I think it was because I had burnt myself out so much my junior year in working. I was working at Chili's as a server, and I was working every single weekend. I was working all these dinner shifts, and I also had a lot of extra organizations that I was a part of. My sorority, I played in the symphony orchestra, and these were a lot of time-consuming activities, not to mention I still wanted to have a social life and I still wanted to date, and I just think I burnt myself out so much my junior year. That senior year, I was like, I'm just gonna take the back seat and I'm gonna take out this additional money. I'm not going to work as much. I have this internship that I can do during the week and I'm just going to take less shifts at Chili's. And it ended up costing me because then I had to repay that money after I graduated. So basically a year later, I had to pay that money back with interest. And I remember my financial advisor really kind of telling me, are you sure you want to do this? I don't think you should do this. You have enough time so that you could work more. And I was like, no, I don't want to work more. I don't know if I totally regret doing that, but it was kind of dumb on my part. I think I could have worked a little bit harder over the summer and made up that $1,500 in a summer, and I could have used that to live on throughout the school year. Okay, my next dumbest purchase may not sound dumb to you, but it's very realistic. So I spent around $80 a month for cable and internet services from Cox Communications. I am definitely going to just call them out right now. Cox is terrible, and I hate that these cable companies end up doing monopolies on various... Hold on. This light keeps flickering, and I swear this room is now haunted, or we just need to change the light bulb. So I'm just gonna turn it off. Okay, better. Okay, so Cox Communications and cable, I was paying $80 a month roughly. And why I consider this a dumb purchase is that I held onto them for so long, and it seemed every year, and then multiple times within the year, they would raise my rate of my bill. They would increase the bill amount for the exact same internet speed, exact same cable services that I was getting before, and they would charge me extra for this. And so I ended up having to keep a customer service call tracker It got to that point where I had to start investigating and writing down notes of, I spoke to Joe and he told me he was gonna lower my bill and you didn't do that. Now I'm talking to you, Karen. Like, what's up, Karen? You need to lower this bill. And I did this for years. I could have saved myself a lot of time and headache. So I don't think it was so much about the price point, right? $80, okay, that's fine. It wasn't so much about the price point as it was about the customer service treatment, the mistreatment that I was enduring when I could have just easily made that switch a long time ago. Now I have WebPass with Google and it's awesome. $60 flat a month and I don't have to ever worry about them raising the rate on me. It's done. Same with Netflix. It's the same $12.99. Okay, they did increase their rates once or twice, but once or twice in 10 years versus how many times I dealt with it with Cox. Sheesh. After I became debt-free in 2014, I was really looking at investing options and strategies with my money. I knew I could do a lot more and make more of an impact with my money now that I didn't have any student loan debt. And so I went into these investing strategies and really looked at financial advisors. Now I think I was influenced, I know I was influenced heavily by Dave Ramsey because he really pushes his endorsed local providers, basically his group of mutual fund advisors that he wants you to work with. And I went for it. And I met this guy and he was really, really nice. And also he charged me 5.75% upfront on my investment money, plus I think it was over 1%, 1.26% annual fee just by investing my money into a mutual fund with his company. Now, over the course of that investment's life, I would have paid over $2,000. I have this in a blog post, which I will link to below. I would have paid over $2,000 in this investment. It just doesn't make sense. Now, when I finally got smart and started reading other investing books and I learned about index funds, I saw how cheap index funds were compared to mutual funds and that I would only be paying a 0.04% expense ratio on index funds compared to the 1.26% plus that nearly 6% in front load fees. It just was a no-brainer for me. So instead of paying over $2,000, now I'm paying closer to $95 over the course of 10 years. But in my 20s, I just was going for whatever the first person told me that I should do, and I really should have taken the time to explore all of my options. Thankfully, I'm out of those mutual funds now. I've severed that relationship and moved into index funds. But oh my gosh, if I hadn't gone and done the research myself, I would still be paying a buttload in fees, in unnecessary fees. Okay, so once I moved from Kansas to California in 2015, I really started venturing into doing my own marketing consulting for businesses and started to freelance and side hustle. And part of that was just wanting to have some education around what was the best way to build an online business or building a business while working from home. It was kind of my dream. It still is my dream. I'm living the dream now. But at that time, I really wanted to get some education around it, and I ended up paying $2,000 for a course that I never finished. And I really, really enjoy, I'll just go ahead and say it. I ended up enrolling in B School, which is Marie Forleo's program. Marie Forleo's a huge motivational speaker. She's an author. She runs her own YouTube show. I really love the advice that she gives. And also, I just didn't get any value out of her course. I felt like they did such a good job in selling it and really ramping up their sales emails, and I was feeling like, yes, 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 this is what I need. And then when I got in there, I felt like it was more of like, woohoo, you're gonna do it, believe in yourself. This is the importance of building an email list, and this is the importance of making an impact. And yes, I do know that, and I've obviously believed in myself thus far, but now I need you to show me how to do things. I'm very much like follow it step by step, and I'll do it. I'm an achiever like that. I will check the boxes, but I felt like I really didn't get that with Marie Forleo's course, and it cost me. And along those lines of really building my online business, I ended up creating an online course, and I still have that course called The Freedom Project. If you want to check it out, it's my 4-step debt-free plan. And I ended up paying the premium amount for my course on my Teachable platform. I love Teachable, but I was paying the premium amount, which means like I would get more of the analytics, I could have more people enrolled, all of these fancy features. And to be honest, at that time when I purchased it, I was not selling anything. I wasn't selling any digital products. And so instead of just going for the basic tier, the basic package of just hosting my online course with that platform, I went all in with the premium package. And you don't need to do that, especially when you're starting out. In fact, if I could go back, I wouldn't have built the course from the get-go. I would have focused on building my audience and then asking them exactly what they would like to see in terms of a digital product. Heads up, I'm still asking that, guys, so comment below if you're wanting to see some new stuff from DFM. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, my last dumbest purchase, and this one I think is going to be controversial, and also not entirely sure if you would find it expensive, but I find it very expensive. So I really love getting my hair cut. I love going to the salon and getting it shampooed and massaged. It feels so good. And so I thought, I'm going to color my hair this time, and I want it light. Like, I want to add some blonde to it. And you know me, I'm like, this is pretty close to my natural color as it is. And I went to this Aveda salon, and they turned my hair orange. It was brassy orange. I probably spent close to 4 hours in that chair having her color, and this colorist I don't think was very experienced, and when they finally dried me and styled it, I was not happy. It was not the outcome that I wanted, and I think management of expectations could have been better, because in my mind I was thinking I was going to be really light and blonde, and truth is I'm very dark, and so I just didn't realize that the process of lightening my hair would take a longer amount of time. And so I called back after I got home because I was really devastated, because I spent more than $250 on this orange hair. I was not happy with that. So they invited me back in to correct it. I had to spend an additional 4 hours in the chair to get it corrected. And I don't like sitting in the chair longer than I have to. I honestly think it's quite boring, and it makes me very anxious because I feel like I have other stuff to do than just sitting in this chair. I don't find hair coloring at a salon very relaxing at all. So I really think that was one of the dumbest purchases I've ever made, because that money is gone. Like, you don't get it back. Your hair grows back, your hair changes color, the color fades. And so instead, what I really love to do is just use the Madison Reed at-home hair coloring kit. One, it only takes me 45 minutes to color my entire hair, and it's done. And I love the multi-tone color. I will link to my affiliate link below if you want to check this out. It's a great at-home delivery hair color kit, and I'm always pleased with the results. I'd much rather do that and spend 1 hour of my time at home sipping a cocktail while I'm doing my hair versus sitting in a salon chair and paying literally, I paid 20 bucks for the Madison Reed kit, and that was 250. So what is that? 10 times the cost? 15 times the cost? You tell me. It's insane. Okay, so those are my dumbest purchases in my 20s. We all make mistakes. Everybody does, including other people here on YouTube, and that's okay. how we learn from these financial mistakes that we can go into the next decade better prepared. But let's be honest, I'm probably making mistakes in my 30s financially, and I will report back to you when that happens.